Listen up. There's a darkness in solitude that most people run from, but I'm telling you right now, that's where the real power is. When you're alone, there's no one to blame but yourself. No distractions, no comfort, just you and your raw, unfiltered thoughts. It's where you find out who you really are. People are scared of being alone because it forces them to face their demons. But those demons, they're not there to haunt you. They're there to forge you into something unbreakable. See, in the silence, in the stillness of being alone, that's where the war begins. And if you want to be a motherfucking savage, you've got to embrace that war. When you're alone, you get to hear that voice in your head that says you're not good enough, that you're not strong enough. But guess what? That voice is full of shit. That voice is the enemy. And it's your job to hunt it down, to destroy it. You do that by pushing yourself to the edge, mentally, physically, spiritually, every single day. Don't just sit with your pain, own it. Feel the hurt, let it cut deep, and then get the fuck up and keep moving. Because when you're alone, there's no one else to pick you up. You become your own hero, your own savior. That's where true strength is born. Most people surround themselves with others to drown out that voice, to avoid the hard truths about who they are. But you're different. You don't need the noise. You don't need the validation. You thrive in the darkness because you know that in the end, it's just you versus you. And when you win that battle, there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that can stop you. So, embrace the loneliness. Seek it out. Use it as fuel. Because when you master the art of being alone, when you've conquered your own mind, there's nothing in this world that can break you. Because here's the truth. The world is full of weak-minded people who need constant validation, who rely on others to tell them they're doing okay, but not you. You're not out here for a pat on the back or a participation trophy. You're out here to crush your goals, to destroy the limitations you've put on yourself. And that takes a level of focus and discipline most people can't even imagine. When you're alone, you're forced to deal with reality, and reality doesn't give a damn about your feelings. It doesn't care if you're tired, scared, or full of doubt. Reality is brutal, and it will chew you up and spit you out if you let it. But when you're alone, you learn to face that reality head on. You learn to thrive in it, to embrace the pain, the suffering, because that's where growth happens. People will tell you that being alone is a weakness, that you need a team, a tribe. But let me tell you something, they're wrong. Being alone isn't a weakness. It's your greatest weapon. In solitude, there are no distractions, no one to coddle you. You strip away all the bullshit. What's left is pure, unadulterated drive. In those moments of solitude, you become unstoppable. When you're alone, you don't have to answer to anyone but yourself. And that's a terrifying and liberating thing. It means you hold all the power. You're the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Every decision, every action is on you. There's no one else to lean on. No one else to blame. But here's the kicker. That also means there's no one to hold you back. No one to tell you to slow down, to take it easy. You can push as hard as you want, as far as you want, and there's no limit to what you can achieve. That's the power of being alone. You're free. Free to become the most relentless, driven, and focused version of yourself. So when the world tells you to find comfort in others, you turn your back and walk the other way. When they say you can't do it alone, prove them wrong. Show them that solitude isn't your enemy. It's your greatest ally. It's where you find your edge, where you sharpen it, where you become the weapon you need to be to conquer whatever stands in your way. Never forget, the battle is won in the mind. And when you've spent enough time alone, battling your thoughts, pushing through the darkness, you'll emerge stronger, sharper, and more dangerous than ever. The world won't know what hit it. You see, solitude is a gift, but only if you're strong enough to accept it. Most people run from it because they're afraid of what they'll find in the silence. But not you. You've learned that the silence is where the real work happens. It's where you confront your weaknesses, where you tear yourself down and build yourself back up, brick by brick, until there's nothing left but solid, unbreakable stone. And when you've spent enough time alone, you start to see the world differently. You realize that the noise, the distractions, the opinions of others, they're all just that, noise. They have no power over you unless you let them. You become immune to the bullshit because you've learned to listen to the only voice that matters, your own. There's a clarity that comes from being alone, a vision that's sharpened by the fire of isolation. You see your goals more clearly. You understand your path more deeply. And you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. Because when you've been alone, truly alone, you faced the worst of it. And nothing out there can compare to the battles you've already fought in your own mind. And don't get it twisted. Being alone doesn't mean you're lonely. There's a big difference. Loneliness is for the weak, for those who can't handle their own company. But you've learned to thrive in it. You've turned that solitude into a weapon, into a source of strength that others can't even comprehend. So when the world tries to tell you that you need others to succeed, you laugh because you know the truth. The only person you need is the one staring back at you in the mirror. That's the person who's going to push you when no one else will, who's going to keep you going when everyone else has given up. That's the person who's going to carry you across the finish line, no matter what it takes. In the end, the power of being alone is the power to be unstoppable. It's the power to take control of your life, to shape your destiny, and to forge yourself into something greater than you ever thought possible. It's the power to look fear in the eye and say, I'm not afraid of you, because I've already faced worse in the silence of my own mind. So embrace the darkness, embrace the solitude, let it mold you, shape you, and turn you into a warrior who fears nothing and no one. Because when you've mastered the art of being alone, there's nothing in this world that can stand in your way.